Okay, all right. So then let's slowly move on towards the new generation models called as diffusion models. This is the most recent. What it actually does is that it learns to remove the noise as it progresses and then try to create that. So the idea is very simple, right? So if I have an image and then if I constantly keep on adding noise to that after every certain instance, right? So you take any face image that you get your from smartphone, keep on adding the filter, add one filter which makes it smoother, do it again, and then at some point of time you will have image which is very black or very. So I can start from something that is completely noisy, and then try to learn a model which can recreate the first image, right? Now this is the high level motivation for this, but then if you look a bit deeper down, it has number of significant applications, right? So you can start thinking about dehazing in complete images, right? Now we want to get rid of the rain. So one way of learning this removal of rain could be using this diffusion process, right? Now you can also think about the similar kind of applications in your own particular applications. Let's say you take an audio and then you capture it using a particular mic, and then every time you are transmitting it, the quality degrades. But if you want to restore the quality of that audio, you can inverse this. Huh? Right. No. The architecture is very similar. The motivation is very similar. But remember, in the case of autoencoders, what we were doing is we were training end to end. So we were training the encoder and also we were training the decoder. But in this case, we can learn one way. So that is one advantage. I'll show you some examples how exactly that happens. But if you start from the ground up, what you can think is that it's just nothing but if I can add noise and create a noisy image, what I'm interested in learning the process to denoise the image. So denoising in this context can be creating new image. Of course, once we have the control of the learning process, we can always add some change the parameters so I can get different variants of the image. Okay. And then the other key aspect is that it's not a very random jump that we are going to make. So we are going to make iterative steps, we are going to take discrete steps, and then every single discrete step is going to give us some output. So if I just take the model, right? So Z is something that we all understand from before. It's nothing but the latent space, it's the embedding space. Then I can add some noise to that, which is at a given particular point of time. Let's assume it's E of theta, epsilon of theta. It's a small noise. And then what happens to this, the representation? It becomes Z theta plus the noise at that particular instance is nothing but the theta minus 1, right? So original image minus some noise, original image plus some noise is the original image, noisy version of the original image. Make sense? Okay. Now I add more theta, so I get second noisy version of the same image, right? And this process I can continue for n number of steps until I reach to a particular point, which is nothing but this generated x0, right? It just for the sake of simplicity, I put it as z and theta and epsilon, but it's imagine it as an image. Okay, now as soon as we have this one, so what is that we can measure? We can measure the difference between the actual theta for each particular instance at a given time, and then the noise equation. Right? So we have two parameters. We are trying to maximize the expectation between this one. This is the simplest form that you can think of. Now, in terms of step-by-step addition of noise, what you're doing is that you're going to add it more sophisticated in a more sophisticated manner, which means your distribution that you have, which Gaussian distribution, which we used to represent it as n of 0, comma 1, is now has changed, right? Remember the Gaussian distribution that we used to write? We always used to write it as simply one, which says this is mu, this is sigma. Now this is not just that, right? Now we have added a couple of new things, which is nothing but the instance t at a particular given point of time, and then there is a way of modeling that particular noise, and that is taken care by this 1 minus beta square root of 1 minus beta and then beta t and I. Again, for the sake of simplicity, do not worry about all those terms, but try to understand the underlying concept here. So the t is nothing but the xt is nothing but the Noisy version. So from one image, I'm going to the next image. This is noisy version. So we are talking about x and xt at a given particular point of time. And then there is this the control of noise, the epsilon parameter that we were talking about. You can simplify the 1 minus beta term to that particular aspect and then say that, okay, that represents the epsilon term. And then you have this other part, which is nothing but the image itself and the covariance of the noise added to that particular image. It could be any signal. So that is in the last term, which is nothing but beta t of I. And then comes the xt minus 1, which is the current instance, right? So everything is captured in that case. And for the sake of simplicity, do not worry about all those things, but just assume that it's noise and then a given image. As soon as we have the control over this one, so I can define how much noise I can add to this image, right? So I know all the parameters. So I can say that, okay, I will decide the beta to be some, let's say 0.2. I'll decide the I, we don't have any control on that. It's computed from the noise itself. And then we have this, the only parameter that is coming into picture here is the controllable parameter is beta. I decide that. So I say, okay, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and so on. And then there's a step-by-step addition, right? So it's very discrete. And then you can also make it as more cumulative. And in that case, the only thing that changes is the inversion here. So the beta that was there before has now become 1 minus alpha, and this one has become square root of alpha. So the amount of noise that is getting in, that is getting multiplied, is changed. But again, for the sake of simplicity, do not worry about all those things. You can generalize it as a cumulative distribution, which is all captured in this particular. There's nothing but summation, right? So if I have 10 different steps, then I can add all of them, and that is the cumulative summation and the product version of that. So the advantage of this one is that once I have the control of that, what I can do is that I can look at this particular aspect. Where is that? Here, which says that I can go from xt straight away from x0 without having all the iterations in between. And the reason why this become more important for us is that most of the modern implementations of diffusion models have these discrete steps which are at 10, 100, 1000, 10,000 and so on. Instead of doing every single iteration, every single stage, which takes longer period of training, you can go from predetermined steps, 1, 10, 100, 200 and so on. Okay, so now that we have this model to learn the distribution, to learn x of t given x of 0, so that is coming from this equation, right? So now what do I want to do? I want to also inverse process them, right? So to do the inverse processing, so what I do is exactly the same model. Now the mean is coming into picture here, and the expectation is also coming into the picture here. Sorry, the summation of all the probabilities with xt given t instance. And now if you can make an analogy between everything, right? This is again a generative model, right? This is the generative part of the whole processing. which is generating one particular instance of an image with a given amount of noise, which is exactly what we are doing with the GAN, right? In the GAN, we had the discriminator, but in this case, we do not have it because we have modeled it in the equation itself. Okay, and then in the case of the training, what is the objective for us? The objective is usually the noise prediction. So whatever we are having epsilon is the actual, the true Gaussian noise, but epsilon theta, which we use in intermediate steps, is nothing but the predicted noise by the model. So how much noise did I add from A to B so that the image turned into a noisy version? Okay. Again, don't be so much alarmed with the math involved here. Just try to understand the concepts itself, right? So what we are interested in finding out what was this parameter that went here, which made this image to turn into this image, right? So we are interested in how to model this noise. And then I'll skip it. I'll not make it even more complicated, but you could do also the reverse trajectory using the inverse manner, right? So there are the mathematical equations. I'll distribute the slides later on, so you can take a look at them and then try to see what is happening. But again, don't be so much held up with the small minor details about the mathematics here. This is quite new models. Okay, so then let me just also give you some examples. We will talk a bit more about this in the diverse architectures. Let me see if I'm going to do it today or tomorrow. But then some of the key applications of this one is in the case of text to image. I am not sure how many of you have used this DALL-E. Anybody who has tried DALL-E? At least some of you have tried.
Very early stage, 2 years back.
2 years back, yeah. So now there is a version called as DALL-E version 2, which is much more sophisticated, which makes use of diffusion in the underlying process. And then there is also this concept of stable diffusion, which I'll talk about it probably if I have time today or at least tomorrow. And then the other big problem that we have been solving in computer vision is the image in painting, which I think with some of you I had the discussion in the morning. So how does a person look like when he's not wearing the mask? So that means that you have to complete that particular part of the image, right? That missing puzzle. So if you know how the models are taking this mask into the account, then you can also inverse the process. So of course there is a amount of guesswork that happens behind the scene, but still it can give you some guaranteed output. And then image editing is also another big application. In this case, for instance, if you want to take a picture of a scene and then you want to get rid of a tree, you could use diffusion models to erase that particular part of the image. And then in the audio generation, as I told with the image generation, it's exactly the same thing. So you want to change the audio from one particular context to another particular context, or generate music where it has been used very well. And it's not just in the application domain, right? As you can see on the right side, you see the usage in the industry itself. Stable diffusion based image generation models are available. Google engine, which is called ImageGen, that is available. There is also another application called as Runway ML, which generates the videos, which are also used in practical applications. Let me try to see if I have other slides. think I have more detailed explanations of diffusion, but I don't know how deep we should go. Another half an hour. Yeah, how about we do this way? So I'll take those examples with the code tomorrow, and then we can show all those in the next lecture, in the morning tomorrow. But for today, I think it will be too heavy if I start with that.
What we can do is that let me explain them some evaluation matrices maybe,
Yeah.
and they can have the idea of, because there's some of them said that we are not understanding the whole mathematics. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
make that easier for them. Okay. So we are continuing it, but just small. Evaluation matrices, and that is to measure the performance of the model. If it is a classifier, how good it is in classifying. If it is predicting something, how good it is in predicting. So let's say we have a classification application, and you have an identification application that if the person is genuine or the person is imposter. So how do we measure the performance of the classifier? Let me tell you what are these TPs and FPs and everything. So for example, you have this is particularly very useful in biometrics kind of applications, where, as I said, it is a face recognition problem. So there is one picture from this side of mine. There is नहीं, चार्जर तो नहीं लगाना पड़ता, इसी में प्रॉब्लम है क्या? The difference should be 0, but because it is a picture, it won't be 0. So then how to say that it is the picture of the same person? So we apply a, let's say, difference operator or a similarity operator. So if it is of the same person and the operator is similarity, the similarity should be high. And if it is a difference operator and we are applying it on the two templates of the same person, the difference should be low. Okay, so this is how we generate a score. And because I know that uh, so because I know this is Nita and there is T1, T2, T3, T4. So I compute a score, I get X1, and let's say it is similarity score, it is so onto a scale, it will come somewhere, let's say 50%. Then I compute another score and I say this is this much because Nita का ही है. Another score जैसा है, this is already compared with this. So I'll now, this is already compared with this, I'll have a comparison with this, another score, have a comparison with this, another score, and have a comparison of these. So what are these scores? These are all genuine scores because I know the comparison was between Nita's templates, okay, and the similarity was, it will be close by, not exactly same, some of the score might came same also. So I plot that score. Now I have, let's say, Neelam's score. So again the templates are need not be same, but let's say for this time they are same. So again you will do. So what you are doing, you are, if I have T templates for every person, I am choosing 2 at a time and computing a score. So total number of genuine scores will be T, choose 2, and this I am repeating for all n persons. So it will be n into, this is number of genuine scores. And I know that this score is a genuine score. So this will, now it is kind of the value, how many times it is appearing. So you are getting a histogram, and when you normalize the histogram, it is called a probability density function. So ये करने पे आपको क्या मिलेगा, एक ऐसा probability density function. So यहाँ पे आपकी, this is x, and what is this giving you? This is giving you p of x. And यहाँ पे आपको ये क्या है, p of x, you know that it is coming, given that it is coming from the genuine distribution. Is this clear? तो अपने पास आप 10 जितने जने हैं, सबकी जितनी टेम्पलेट्स ली हैं, हम उन टेम्पलेट्स को मैच करके स्कोर ले रहे हैं, और क्योंकि वो सेम लोगों के मैच हो रहे हैं तो ये कुछ नियर बाई ऐसा आएगा. जो बहुत डिग्रेडेड इमेज है छोटा स्कोर आएगा, जो बहुत अच्छी इमेज है एवरेज ऐसा आएगा, जो कम स्कोर आएगा. Okay, so we know it is so and so distribution. वहाँ से हमने यहाँ पे इसको बनाया, histogram plot किया, उसको normalize करा. Now how do we compute imposter scores? Imposter scores are computed as, ये नीता का था T1, T2, T3, T4, and ये नीलम है T1, T2, T3, T4. तो imposter score कब होगा? When I am trying to say that I am so and so. So I'll compare this with this template. I'll get a score. Score आया, कम आना चाहिए, similarity score है. इसको इससे भी compare किया, शायद इससे भी किया. Then okay, so how many total imposter scores are there? What we are doing, we are from 2 persons, we are choosing the templates. So आप क्या कर रहे हो, n persons थे, n choose 2 at a time, और उनकी t templates हैं तो t square comparison. Okay, so it is quadratic in n. तो जब number of imposter scores आपको बढ़ाने हो तो आपको number of persons बढ़ाने हो, तब तो imposter score बढ़ेंगे. और जब आपको number of genuine scores बढ़ाने हैं तो आप number of templates बढ़ाएं. Is this clear? So let's say कि आपके पास में, आपको समझ आया है या नहीं आया है. let's take an example. So now you get it that you have two distributions. This distribution is X is coming from imposter. रमेश तुमने सारा मैजिक खत्म कर दिया. मैं वहाँ कलर्ड पेन से सारा दिखा.
एक बार ट्राई कर लेता हूँ.
So X given that it is coming from imposter. I know that it is comparison of two persons. अब ऐसा होगा कि किसी प्रोफाइल पे कुछ my picture may appear similar to somebody else. So इसलिए ये बोला somebody else picture. तो score जहाँ सेम थे बट वो डिग्रेडेड इमेज है तो स्कोर इज लो. सो दैट्स व्हाई वो लग रहा है इम्पोस्टर है लेकिन वो सेम है. कुछ जो इम्पोस्टर हैं लेकिन वो उनका स्कोर सिमिलरिटी ज़्यादा आ रहा है. वी नीड अ थ्रेशोल्ड कि हम बोले एटलीस्ट 50% तो मैच हो. सो लेट्स से 50% इज द थ्रेशोल्ड. सो ये लाइन है बट एक्चुअली क्या है, दिस इज अ वैल्यू. It is a scalar value. If below 50 I am saying you are imposter, above 50 I am saying you are genuine. Okay, so let's say first person has 10 templates, second person has 5 templates, third person has 4 templates, and fourth person has only 1 template. You please compute the number of genuine scores and number of imposter scores. करो जरा तब तक.
नहीं कनेक्ट हो रहा है.
इसको तो चार्ज भी करने की जरूरत नहीं है.
इसको चार्ज भी नहीं इसलिए.
हाँ?
लैपटॉप कनेक्ट हो रहा है पर ये नहीं हो रहा.
तो फटाफट तो लेट्स से जेन्युइन स्कोर कैसा होगा. नंबर ऑफ जेन्युइन स्कोर्स इज फर्स्ट पर्सन्स टेम्पलेट्स आर 10, so you will have 10 C2. Second person's templates are 5. So these will be the total number of genuine. Are we clear about this? So now let's somebody will tell me what is number of imposter scores. Number of imposters will be, these samples are to be compared with all these samples, right? So it is 10 into 5 plus 4 plus 1 plus, now 10 is already compared, so 5 are to be compared with, and then this will be the number of imposter scores. Is this okay? Is this okay?
इसमें लगा के देखना.
Can we proceed? Now we come back to the distribution.
इसमें भी नहीं.
Yeah, only one template. So it is a genuine score, but there for imposter, for genuine score it needs another template. So there is no, there is 0 for that. That's why it was 1 C2 is anyway 0.
इसमें कोई नहीं हो रहा.
That's 0. That's 0. Because you need at least 2 templates to compute a score. Whether it is imposter or it is, that is a, good you pointed it out. Okay. So now we will डायग्राम नहीं दिखा जो सर बोल रहे थे. रेड पेन तो है बट यहाँ पे जो दिख रहा था So ये इन्होंने मुझे दिया है. I'll try to make it up with my teaching ability. This is X, remember? So what is TP? True positive. Okay. And we take whatever in whichever measure we are interested in. Identities में interested है कि वो correct है, so we'll call it as positive. If it is a medical application, so we are interested in identifying the disease, so then diseased will be positive. If it is a spam and ham, so we are interested in identifying the spam, so it will be positive. So when the score is a genuine score and it is above the threshold, then it is true positive. Okay, so there is onto this, there is some minimum, and वो minimum asymptotically यहाँ तो हम ऐसा दिखा देते हैं, but वो चल रहा होता है थोड़ा, not never zero, right? ऐसा और कुछ थोड़ा थोड़ा वैल्यू रहेगा उसमें. So if the score is above the threshold and the score is genuine score, then it is true positive. Okay. So total true positive will be true positive fraction. अगर वो आपके पास में discrete values हैं तो you will sum the number of scores which are genuine scores and which are above the threshold. Okay. So you call that as, this becomes true positive. So ये true positive कहाँ से हो रहा है? This is you integrate what? The genuine distribution. And you integrate from what? From this threshold, because you are saying above the threshold. Yeah, genuine distribution. So from this threshold to what? The maximum. Let's say it is positive infinity. It can be anything. If you have a maximum definite value, you will integrate it. So that is what is your true positive. अगर वो discrete values हैं, you will do the summation of how many discrete values are above the threshold, and they are of the genuine comparisons, then it is the total TPM. Okay. If the score is similarly, if the score is below the threshold and it is an imposter score, then it is true negative. So अगर आप ट्रू नेगेटिव फ्रैक्शन निकालोगे या TNR निकालोगे तो वो क्या हो जाएगा? आपको इंटीग्रेट किसको करना है? Px and it is coming from imposter. Okay, and what do I integrate from? देख के बताएंगे आप. This is the TNR, right? ये है ना? From minimum to, so minimum is, let's say, minus infinity, yeah, or otherwise I know a minimum value to threshold. आया? मिरर किया है. Okay, let's see कि हटाओ देखिए मिरर किया है तो. मुझे तो वो चाहिए था जो डायग्राम था. अच्छा नहीं वो मुझे मेरे वाले में वो चाहिए था. अच्छा नहीं अब आ रहा है इनको समझ. द मैजिक इज गॉन नाउ.
You want to do it?
You got the point. No, it but I need the diagram. So this is correct. Okay. So now if it is an imposter score and it is above threshold, which you see is this portion, right? It is an imposter score. You already know it. But its value is above the threshold. Then what it is? It is false. False positive. Because falsely you are saying you are positive. Okay. So false positive fraction will be, you have to integrate. Now you integrate what? Imposter. And you integrate it from where? From threshold to, let's say the maximum.
एक मिनट रुको.
Maximum या मैं इसको plus infinity में लिख दूँ. Right? So that is false positive fraction. Okay. And then there is a genuine score, but its value is below the threshold. What is the area? This portion. So हम इसको क्या बोल रहे हैं कि you are imposter, और जबकि वो है genuine. तो ये क्या हो गया? False negative.
अगर काम करेगा
So
तो
we
करेगा.
say false negative fraction is, now what you are integrating, and you are integrating it from minimum. Is this okay?
अब वो हो गया.
So
चलो.
that's where, so now where is the confusion? Here it is no confusion for the TP. Here it is no confusion. This is the confusion part. Because this is error.
Connect.
Our aim is to maximize TP,
ये टॉपिक
to maximize TN,
नहीं जब तक
to
करेगा
minimize
फिजिकल कनेक्ट करना पड़ेगा.
FN, and to minimize FN. So this is
करेंगे वहाँ
SP.
पे लेके
क्या? नहीं यहीं पर है.
So if my instrument is so and my measurements are so that the distribution are well separated, तो वहाँ पे कोई error ही नहीं होगा. So these are the two values which are contributing to that. Now what happens if I decrease the threshold? So when I decrease the threshold, let's say, so false negative is decreasing, but false positive is increasing to a larger extent because the density बढ़ गया.
यहाँ से कर देना.
And if I increase the threshold,
पासवर्ड डालने के.
false positive is decreasing, but false negative is increasing. So the ideal value is, we are assuming that they are unimodal Gaussians, so there is only one intersection. So आपके पास में उस intersection पे लगो, that is the best case scenario. But when we move, we are decreasing one of the error, but the other error may be increasing. So now supposing you have an application, forensic application, and you have control over these two errors. So threshold for such an application आप क्या रखना चाहोगे? Which error you can tolerate for you can keep high, while one of the error you need to decrease. False positive high रखोगे या false negative high रखोगे? False negative is false positive is person not of interest, but you are saying no, you are of interest. False negative is the person was of interest and you said no, you are.
पासवर्ड नहीं करेगा तो फिर
तो false positive को आप क्या रखोगे? क्यों?
I think it is better to like have people in that suspicious state rather than just ignoring them.
Exactly. जिस पे भी शक है उसको further investigate कर. और usually क्या होता है? जिस पे सबसे कम शक होता है वही आपका सस्पेक्ट निकलता है. So इसलिए for forensic applications, false positive we try to keep high, false negative हम minimize करेंगे. But for if it is a medical application,
अपना टाइम
so that is you are suffering from disease. So अगर आपने किसी को falsely बोल दिया you are suffering from disease, थोड़ा उसके लिए traumatic हुआ, but he underwent certain tests and then cleared himself. But अगर आपने किसी को falsely negative बोल दिया, the person was diseased and you said you are not diseased, that may turn as fatal. So that's why for those applications you will keep false negative as small, because we know one is affecting the other. For आपके पास में forensic application होगा, कोई बात नहीं. Today it is Zincs. Doesn't matter. Now they are understanding. They are with me. So if it is a high security application, for example, here only authorized people can handle nuclear reactors and DRDO gates and all. So You want to keep false positive high or you want to keep false negative high? If it is a high security zone, let's say nuclear reactors or defense application kind of thing, then you want to false negative high. Why?
People to access that.
You want to ascertain that the person is the authorized person. So even if I am authorized and I am denied access, I will be producing something more which can ascertain that I am the same person that I am claiming to be. Okay? But if supposing it is a welfare disbursement application, okay? So आप public disbursement जो आपके पास में राशन उस केस में आपको क्या रखना चाहिए?
What will make this guy
It
support?
can be, because they are small amounts and they can have, and it's okay. But you want more and more people to take advantage of those things. If it is a grocery store and they are saying that if you do this much shopping, then we will give you these many number of points. But they are falsely rejecting you. So then it might offend you. Because for a small point, you are unnecessarily saying ये card आपका correct है या नहीं. तो वहाँ पे आपके पास में false positive थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा होना चाहिए. This way you decide. Okay. So then there are so many measures, TPR, FPR, FNR, ये सब आप ये चीज़ आपको समझ में आ गया इसमें से निकाल के. So आपके पास में एक और चीज़ है precision and recall, जिसमें precision, अच्छा मैं इसको ये भी बताना चाहती थी actually. So उससे पहले let's say सर ने आपको बात किया था detection error curve. So this was false positive rate and false negative rate. Curve between two errors. Curve कैसे plot करते हैं हम इसको? So what we do, we vary the threshold from minimum to maximum by a step size. Okay. So first of all, the threshold is minimum. So threshold minimum है, so what will be FPR? बताइए. Threshold is minimum, and you know what is FPR? FPR is from threshold to maximum. So आपके पास में F क्या आएगा ये? And ये ratio है तो वैल्यू किसके बीच में वेरी करेगी? 0 to 1. So when the threshold is minimum, what will be FPR? Let's say this is 1, this is 0, and this is 1. क्या आएगा? यहाँ इसको देख के बता मैक्सिमम क्या है? 1. तो हम यहाँ कहीं होंगे. What will be FNR? FNR क्या है आपके पास में? You are integrating this from minimum to, तो ये भी क्या, ये आपके पास में क्या आएगा? 0. So you are here. जब threshold minimum है तो you will get this point. You will compute FPR, you will compute FNR, and you plot it. Now you increase the threshold by a step size. You again compute them and you get a, तो आपको कुछ इस तरह से मिलेगा. This is how you draw the curve. Is this okay? You vary the threshold from minimum to maximum, compute FPR, TPR, plot a point on the graph, increase the threshold by the step size, compute FPR, TPR, plot the. Is that okay? So this way you will get a curve.
Ma'am, usually when we are training the model, the ROC AUC curve is generated.
This is how it is generated.
Yes. So what thresholds is the model taking internally?
From minimum to maximum, and you are giving the step size.
But usually we do not give
No, you are this is using the default value. You need to check. Okay, तो स्मूथ लेना है तो आप उसके अंदर कुछ चेंज करोगे, अदरवाइज बड़ा स्टेप साइज आ जाएगा. इसलिए खुद बना के एक बार देना. एक आपको एक्सरसाइज देंगे जिसमें गॉसियन कर्व दिया है and you see what happens. Okay, तो अब आपके पास let's say you have two instruments. One is saying my FPR and FNR is this, and there is another equipment which is saying my FNR is this, and there is a third equipment which is saying my FNR and FPR DET curve is this. It is a biometric application. Which equipment you should purchase? And why? देखो ये भी नहीं चल रहा, बताएं. Maypal's instrument is this black, and Dr. Raja's is this red, and mine is this green. We are saying this is the DET curve of our equipments, and we want to sell it to you. Which one will you prefer and why?
Black.
Black, why?
Because that point of value of the false positive, false negative.
Not even for the middle point. For whole curve, the error is this. Which is much less than this error. Okay, which is much less than this. This is kind of a chance experiment, random. कभी मैं कह रही हूँ आप genuine हो, कभी कह रही हूँ आप imposter हो. Because ये क्या आ रहा है? FPR and FNR are equal. So इसमें एक और term होता है equal error rate. So what is equal error rate? Where both the errors are equal in the graph. So अगर equal error rate पे भी आप इसको करोगे तो so this is the equal error rate for this is the equal error rate for this and this. So किसका कम होगा उसको आप prefer करोगे. Is this okay? So ये आप इसमें जैसे आपने minimum किया था वैसे ही मैं कर रही हूँ when the threshold is maximum. When the threshold is maximum, तो हम किस point के ऊपर होंगे इस ग्राफ में आप बताएंगे? What will be FPR? 0. And what will be FNR? 1. So ये इसलिए ये ग्राफ ऐसा. Okay. So the next curve sir said was your ROC curve. ROC curve में we are interested in understanding the ratio of true negative and so here was the Sundar diagram. You have the idea. This is the what is the error. So now we are talking of I like to come to this diagram, but before that, because I am talking of ROC, ये पूरा क्यों नहीं हो रहा? There are certain measures which may be. So these are the various measures that will come up from the diagram. So this is the ROC curve. Okay. So now the ROC curve you already know is, it is the curve between again false positive fraction, and now it is 1 minus that false negative, which is true positive fraction. So again, how do you draw the curve? You vary the threshold from minimum to maximum, increasing it by a step size. So when we are at minimum, जब हमारे पास में the threshold is minimum. So what is FPR? You already know it is 1. आपने किया ना यहाँ पे इंटीग्रेट किया इसको फॉल्स पॉजिटिव को, तो आप इसका 1 आया आपके पास में. व्हाट इज नाउ? इट इज द कर्व बिटवीन ट्रू पॉजिटिव रेट एंड वेयर इज द ब्लैक. तो ट्रू पॉजिटिव रेट क्या आएगा बताएंगे? अपन कर्व पे कहाँ होंगे? Okay, so we'll be somewhere here. Now you increase the threshold. So आपके पास में क्या होगा, false positive rate कम होने लगेगी, true positive rate आपके पास में true positive जब तक ये threshold यहाँ पे आ जाएगा. तो यहाँ से जैसे ही इससे क्रॉस करेगा इंटरसेक्शन पे, तो false positive will suddenly dip and उसके बाद में true positive dip करेगा. तो ये कर्व आपके पास में कुछ ऐसा है. ओके, एंड सपोजिंग एक और इक्विपमेंट है उसका ऐसा है, और इक्विपमेंट है उसका ऐसा है. सो इफ इट इज, दिस इज द रिसीवर ऑपरेटिव कर्व. ये सिग्नल थ्योरी से इनका नाम है, नाम डजंट हैव एनी मीनिंग, वी आर यूजिंग द सेम फॉर इवैल्यूएटिंग द क्लासिफायर्स आल्सो. सो इन दिस केस which curve C1, C2 and C3 should be preferred? C1. Why? Because what we are saying is any point which is the what our interest is. This is true positive, it should be maximized. What is this? This is false positive, it should be minimized. So we should be towards this side. तो ये जो आपके पास में है, ये तो it is a random experiment. You are positive or negative, you are saying the same. Above which is area under the curve. जैसे आपके पास में डिटेक्शन एरर ट्रेड ऑफ में था, एरिया अंडर द कर्व शुड बी मिनिमम, हियर एरिया अंडर द कर्व शुड बी मैक्सिमम. सो ये जितना बढ़िया हो, जितना इसके अंदर आए, तो आइडियली तो आपके पास में ये है, बट ये आता नहीं है. बट सो आप क्या कर रहे हैं कि कौन सा थ्रेशोल्ड मुझे लेना चाहिए, तो यू यूजुअली टेक एट TPR at let's say 10% FPR, कि false positive मेरे पास में 0.01% है, उस पे TPR क्या है, that you report as an experiment. Okay? Because you know कि यहाँ पे मेरे पास में ये आया, तो इसके corresponding ये क्या है, देखिए कम हो रहा है, तो मेरे पास में ये इस कर्व में ज़्यादा है. These are the measures which are used to denote that. Is this okay? So the confusion matrix which Sir draw was this. मिरर कर दिया ना, तो ये आधा स्क्रीन ही. Okay. So what it is, the confusion matrix is drawn is that, let's say the actual was A, it is diseased, and your test also identified it as disease. So it was A, it was a positive case, you identified it as positive, so this is TP. Okay, and what you say, what is the probability? Probability of A and B, because both are true. You are disease and you are identified as disease. You are genuine and you are identified as genuine. You are spam and you are identified as spam. Now there you are disease, but you are identified as not disease. So this is false negative. So what is the probability? P of A and B bar. So your columns are predicted and your rows are actual values. So what is the total population of disease? Those who were diseased and identified as disease, those who were diseased and identified as not disease. So it will be TP plus FN. So this is when you do some addition of this. So what it is? P of A and B and P of A and B bar. So which will become equal to P of A, which is the total disease population. Now it is, you are healthy, P of A bar, and you are identified as B, as diseased. You are healthy, but you are identified as disease. So it is falsely identified. What you are being identified? Positive. So it is false positive. Okay. And what it is? Probability of A bar and B. So you are healthy and you are predicted as healthy, it is true negative. So P of A bar and B bar. So when you sum this row, it is P of A bar and B plus P of A bar and B bar. So this is totally what? It is probability of A bar. Okay. How many actual healthy persons were there? When you sum the first column, it is how many predicted diseased. When you sum the second column, how many predicted healthy? Okay. When you do the summation of disease and non-disease, it should be 1. Predicted disease and non-disease, it should be 1. So TPR मुझे निकालना पड़ेगा तो क्या होगा? TP over total predicted positive वो क्या है? Out of the total positive, how many are predicted positive? Is TPR. So it is TP plus over TP plus FN. Okay. This is also called recall. Okay. TPR. And if there is another term which was precision, precision is out of the total predicted positive. जो total positive थे and false positive, how many were actually positive? Out of the total retrieved documents, how many are relevant? And first case में क्या हो गया? Out of the total relevant documents, how much were retrieved? Okay, so that comes like this. And then you have F1 score where you are interested in both good precision and good recall. So you have a harmonic mean of that. And then you have other measures also, which is a combination of these. But this is how it is that you conduct the experiment and then you validate your experiments that how my classifier is behaving. Is this okay? उधर पीछे आप लोगों को समझ आया जो आप बोल रहे थे मैथ्स नहीं किया हुआ? हाँ, अभी भी कम आ रहा है, इसमें तो कोई मैथ्स नहीं है. अब मैंने तो इसको टोटली नॉन टेक्निकली पढ़ाया है अभी एज ए लेमैन. या अब कैसे बनाए बता. माय गॉड, इससे ज्यादा तो इट इज बियॉन्ड मी. एंड अगर मैं आपके सुझाव पे देने लग जाएंगे तो रेस्ट ऑफ द 90% पीपल विल बी सेइंग कि व्हाट आर यू टीचिंग, वी ऑलरेडी नो दीज थिंग्स.
कोई विषय सुझाव की बात नहीं होती. जब भी ऐसी कॉन्फ्रेंस होती है, अलग-अलग विश्वविद्यालय हम भी जाते हैं कॉन्फ्रेंस में.
No, this is a workshop. This is a specialized workshop.
कॉन्फ्रेंस दोनों का अगर अलग-अलग स्ट्रीम आती है तो थोड़ा उसको दोनों तरफ पढ़ना पड़ता है.
No. Actually, for this we have a fixed template and the topics and everything is already approved. Then only we can offer that. So we don't have much of flexibility. We are trying to accommodate, picking some of the topics which might appear confusing. Let's elaborate it, make it easy in the form of a tutorial. That is our idea. Okay. So if you have any question, so these are. So I think that's we can say that's all for today. We'll give you certain exercises and you please. अब इनके क्योंकि ये पढ़ा दिया है तो इसके ऊपर भी एक क्विज तो बनेगा.
And will you be sharing the slides?
Yeah, I'll share. But ऐसा ही share कर दूँ as it is या इसको कुछ कर. Oh, okay. Because फिर मैंने उसको specifically इसमें नहीं किया है. I'm just picking just to show the diagram. Otherwise, most of it was like हो जाएगा. Okay. For them, yeah. So we can share that.